Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Trading Bitcoin with your host Tone Vase, coming to you from Austin, Texas. Shout out to Jimmy Song for the hat, who is actually sitting right next to me. You kind of jump in there. There he is.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
There's Jimmy. We are going to go through Trading Bitcoin, but if you guys have questions, I'm not sure if anyone is actually going to be helping with questions yet, but if there are some questions that Jimmy is better suited to answer, we'll get his take on it. But go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and start screen share. And actually, hold on, let me bring this up. There we go. I don't need that. And
by the way, Tone has like 800 tabs open at the same time, just so you guys know.
Yeah, that's actually normal for me. And then I wonder why I have computer problems. Right?
And he's always wondering, why doesn't my computer work?
Yeah. All right, let's go to screen share. Boom. All right, my usual disclaimer. I haven't done a disclaimer in a long time, mostly because I haven't done trading Bitcoin in a long time. I've been on the road. But please go to libertylifetrail.com, soon to be rebranded as an actual, real, website from the current century. And go to educational tools, check out Learn Trading. All of this is totally free. If you don't like it, you don't have to read it, but this will help you understand trading. And section 6 is what I tend to focus on. I really like the Tom DeMark sequential indicator and my alteration of it, and that's what we'll be using. Those for whom all my free material is not enough, please check out the consulting section of my website, though it has been very difficult to get me on the phone, even at my current rate, which has gone down in fiat terms. But my trading seminar is actually on Saturday. Today's Thursday. Austin is coming up. I'll have more news on Dublin and London, and also Montreal and potentially Philadelphia, all of that over the summer, and Vegas as well. So once I'm done with these seminars, I'm going to focus on the next batch of seminars, and still planning to be in Australia all of November, right? But more on that later on. But these are the seminars. They have about 5 seats left here in Austin. So if you're still interested, definitely shoot an email. Contact information is at the bottom. All right, let's get to the prices. I don't even know how many live viewers I have because I'm not really looking at the YouTube. So hope everything is going well. Let's do it. Let's look at the weekly chart. All right, so earlier today, I added this downward trend line. And I briefly tried to explain how everything we're watching right now, we've pretty much seen it before, right? It's this really, like, the more time goes by, the more this continues to look like 2014. Like, what bothers me even more is the fact that it looks so close to 2014 that you keep thinking something different is going to happen, and nothing different continues to happen. We are now actually, so I have the Fibonacci's here, right? If you look at the Fibonacci's, this is a logarithmic chart. The Fibonacci's go from the low in January of 2015 to the $20,000 high. Notice how we are already below the 62% Fibonacci. So what I probably should do is add the 76% Fibonacci. And let's see what that looks like. And that is pretty low. And that is, what price is that at? That is at a price of 4,754. That is very, very close to the support line that I've been talking about, that I'm hoping Bitcoin bounces from, which is 49.75 area. It's within $225 of the low that I'm actually looking for. So maybe I should make this a range. Like, there's a potential low in Bitcoin between this number, 47.55, and 47.55 and the 49.75 area. Okay, so I'm going to keep this Fibonacci on here. It's not cluttering my chart, so it's okay. So let's talk a little more about these similarities between 2014 and 2018.
Sorry.
What was that?
I'm watching your video.
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Jimmy's watching my video on his computer right next to me. Awesome. So here is that first batch. Okay, so how do I get this in like one shot here? Let me make this bigger. Let's you know what? I don't care for the MACD. Let me drop the MACD. I can bring it back. I'll leave the RSI though. Man, this thing. You know what? Let me do this. Maybe this will give me a little more room. Yeah, here we go. Okay, there. And now I'll go here, and now I'm going to go there. Okay, so look at what happened here in 2014, right? How much time did it take? We topped around November of 2013, and then we made the ultimate low on this first batch. We broke the 50-week moving average. We fell down to the 23% Fibonacci. No, that seems weird. Why is my Fibonacci going from there to there? That makes no sense at all. That's weird, but okay. I mean, it's hitting the right numbers. Anyway, it's fine. It bounced off of the last Fibonacci line down here. I guess I just did it in reverse. And that happened around March 31st. But the prior lows came pretty quickly. But we continued to stay under this trend line until we broke above it, but then eventually we could not hold the 50-week moving average, and then we fell the rest of the year and ultimately bottomed in January of the following year. Can somebody please tell me how this looks any different? And to me, it absolutely doesn't. People are just like full of this hopium that I don't even know where the hell it's coming from. All right, guys, I'm looking at the current situation. I'm looking at the 2014 situation. I see absolutely no difference. We all thought that this break of the trend line was going to amount to new all-time highs, and we were all wrong. This was the ultimate bull trap right here back in 2014. So our bull trap here already came a little earlier, but the bull trap back in 2014 came even earlier, right? So right now our bull trap is here in the middle, back when 2014 was getting its second low. So there's very minor differences so far. Now all we have done is bounced off of this 50-week moving average, and we have not even gotten back up to this declining trend line, okay? So I don't know where people are getting all of these bullish ideas from. I mean, I've been a bear through for a long time now in this. I mean, basically ever since around 14,000 back in January, I've pretty much been a straight up bear, like except for this one little piece here, but I still navigated that pretty well. Just go back to the videos. And this changes nothing. I don't understand how you have 1 hour of unexpectedness to the upside, and everyone now thinks that we're going to the moon when nothing changed. Nothing fundamentally has changed in Bitcoin. Nothing technically has changed in Bitcoin. Nothing has changed. All that has changed is those that were short Bitcoin are a lot poorer today than they were yesterday. That's the only difference. And I continue to tell people not to short crypto. Shorting crypto is very, very dangerous for this specific reason. All right, let me get out of this giant screen because it's no longer necessary. And I mean, I'm looking at the weekly chart. You're still on a red 5. Because the red 5 is now a green candle, it makes it easier to get to a red 9, which is a good thing. I still would like to see a red 9 in the vicinity of 5,000 for a potential true low, but that also puts us below the 50-week moving average, which could set up, 6 to 12 months more of downside like we had throughout 2014 and into 2015. So let's go to the daily chart. The daily chart is where all of this like insanity is coming in right now. So there's a few things here, right? So here is how this area could have been navigated. So this trend line here, when you take off the log scale, the trend line goes pretty well with the first of the two double tops. In fact, let me go back to big screen actually. In fact, I was playing around with this today a little bit. That's why it's like off. It's gonna be like where? Here and there, and now it looks a little bit better, okay? Now this now this weekly trend line looks a little bit better, okay? It was like that. And when this is the linear version. When you go to the log version, you can see how the log version was also useful in predicting this guy. So a couple of people had pointed out, so this morning I tried to fudge with this trend line and I didn't think it was useful. But a couple of other people also fudged with the trend line. So let me go back to the linear chart. And now let me adjust it in a different way. I'm gonna make this big screen. So you always have to play around with your trend lines, which is why trend lines are not my very useful tool to identify stuff. I'm not a big fan of trend lines. I prefer candlesticks, number one, chart patterns, number two, the numerical indicator, number three, the time indicator. And then we're talking trend lines and moving averages and Fibonacci's and support resistance. And after that, we're talking oscillators and momentum indicators, right? So this is actually an array. So I only have 2 points to play with, right? So if and I know this may look, like fudging, but if I change this trend line to be the top of a candle and not the top of the daily wick, and those that attended my seminars know that when it comes to daily candles, I don't have a preference whether a wick should be used or the top of the candle should be used. In fact, they're both can be relevant. So now that I go to a linear chart and I use a best fit line, my best fit line touches the tops of the candles at the all-time high, touches the tops of the candles on the bull trap back in January, and it touches the top of the wick of this last high that also gave you a 9 sell for half the candle or more than half the candle. And now I have a best fit line, trend line going down. Should probably make it red. I don't know why it's blue. That touches 3 valid points. And look at today's candle. Today's candle ran right into this trend line, okay? Now, once again, I am using the linear version of the chart. This also puts the crossover way down here as opposed to way up there, okay? Now, you see this? Oh, wow, I did not mean to move that. So now let's take a look at this bottom trend line. Let's see if we can alter that one. How is that one drawn? Well, I actually don't know. Let me see. Yeah, you know what? And this indicator is, let me adjust it. It's too cluttered. Let me do this, and it should be cleaner now. A little better. All right. What points did I use to draw this trend line? It looks like I used this point and all the way back there. So let's move it out. Let's adjust this guy a little bit. Okay. What if I go to this point? Again, I'm just playing around on live air here. Now this may be something, right? So let's see what we can do here. All right. So I want to see if I can get this trend line to be a little more useful. If I go like this, it's not great, but it's starting to potentially be something, right? My other option is to not go back this far and bring it up some more. What if we tried one of these? If I take this point and this point. Again, I'm moving random things. Not exactly great. Again, I'm just trying to look for the best fit line. Also not great. This may not work. This may not do much. Yeah, so I don't really have anything that great other than, again, trying to get a best fit line throughout these guys. Yeah, well, you know, I have 1 point. I have a second point within the vicinity. I have a third point that came up a little bit shy. And now I have touching this current low point. And now, looking at this linear chart, we potentially have come up with something else. Now, I understand this is a bit of a stretch, but this is also why I don't like trend lines, okay? So let's see what happens here. What do I attribute today to? Just a short squeeze, guys. It's just a short squeeze. I know I'm saying it's just a short squeeze for those that were short and probably lost a lot of money, but this is trading. This is exactly what trading is. You have to be ready. You can't let a single trade, destroy you. If a single trade destroyed you, even this current trade, then you're clearly doing something wrong. And maybe you should take a break from trading. But I showed these charts earlier. I don't know who made these, but the shorts were literally the biggest short position we've had potentially in the history of Bitcoin. And people are talking about how big the volume was. Who cares? It was short covering. It wasn't true volume. It wasn't true buying. Short covering is not true buying, guys. Nothing fundamentally has changed. Nothing technically has changed. Just one bad day. I'm going to see a lot more than this. I mean, we have this new trend line resistance. We have the prior high. We have the 50-day moving average. We have the setup trend resistance. We have the 200-day resistance. We have the 128-day resistance, which is on pace to cross the 200-day. I mean, there's so many, like I said in my tweet, I'm even more bearish now because now, like, people are going to be scared to short, right? Shorting does not drive the price lower. This is what I tried to explain. What I tried to explain this morning, and I still haven't actually slept. I slept like 2 hours last night on a plane. What I tried to explain this morning is that shorts do not drive down the price. They don't. When a person borrows stock to go short, someone else has taken on that long position against them. So when you have, let's say there's only, let's break it down. Let's say there's only 1 million shares of a stock. And people own that million shares. So 1 million shares of stock are long. Then 500,000 shares have been borrowed from those people to go short. But in order to go short, someone else has to go long and go opposite of your short. So you end up in a situation where now there is 1.5 million shares long and 500,000 shares short. So all you did was just, there's a bunch of leveraged short positions, but the longs only got, like nothing changed. Like the shorts don't drive down the price. What drives down the price is people actually selling their long positions. That's what drives down the price. But when you already have 1.5x long versus the shorts, and the shorts are fully exhausted, you spook those shorts, and those shorts got to cover, and that creates this disastrous scenario that you just saw. And nothing really you can do. When this thing blows over, there won't be much bids. I mean, I tried taking the opportunity today to pay a few people that I owe money to, because I'm not really expecting this to last. I'm not. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I hate to tell you the truth, but like, I'm still bearish here. And the fact that this wasn't such an easy trade to the downside, let me get to the 12-hour chart, right? Like, I kind of expected this triangle to be nice, easy, and textbook, but it wasn't, right? The fact that shorts got wrecked only makes me more confident that there's more pain to come, because now not only are those long are going to feel the pain, because I'm expecting prices to go lower. Those that were short and were expecting to profit from the fall in prices, they're also going to feel the pain. So this is a good lesson for all of you ICO and shitcoin believers out there. This is how the stock market has this unique ability to separate 95% of all investors from 90 to 95% of all of their money. Because in the beginning of today, here's that 12-hour candle. It started dipping. This was actually a red one at one point. And boom, it reversed on a dime. So the market has a way of taking out the shorts before it actually goes short. And all of those guys that had the right trade are gonna be sitting on the sidelines watching it go lower. So I don't understand how everyone and their mother has come out of the woodworks in the last 12 hours talking about how Bitcoin is about to go to the moon because of this, and they have no explanation for this. I have seen some crazy excuses, like 3 people on Twitter like have sent me these articles saying how somebody posted something about here. Where's my Twitter? Let's go to my Twitter. Notifications. I get like 1,000 notifications a day. It's crazy. Ah, thank you. I'm channeling my inner Jimmy Song with the hat. I gotta get my own.
You do.
I gotta get one fitted.
And you get. Well, we can. You just need to measure your head, and then you can go buy one.
Here, what's everybody sending me? Everyone is sending me this. Bitcoin is compatible with Sharia law, and that's why it went up. So here is an article. Bitcoin is compatible with Sharia law, published 2 days ago. Another article that somebody sent me from Jamie Redmond, I believe. I mean, I'm sure he still writes for Bitcoin.com. Here's another one, right? Research paper declares Bitcoin compliant with Sharia law from Bitcoin.com. 2 different articles written in the last 48 hours about Bitcoin being comparable with Sharia law. You know what I replied to this last one, guys? I've been in this space long enough. I'm not an early Bitcoin adopter. I'm not an OG, but I have a good memory. And here is my reply. The Sharia law article, here's an article from 2014 telling you that Bitcoin is comparable with Sharia law. Come on, guys. Don't be the mainstream media. Don't pull random crap that has nothing to do with the price of Bitcoin and talking about how that's the catalyst. It's not, okay? And the moment people started sending me the Sharia law stuff, I'm like, how come I remember this from years ago? So it only took me like 30 seconds to Google for it. Okay, all of this was already done. 2014, check it out. Okay, every time, and ironically, I bet you this happened on that last jump. I wonder what day this was published. December 2014, okay? I wonder if Bitcoin popped that day and people said, Oh my God, this is the catalyst. December 19, 2014. Let me see. Let's go back to the weekly chart. December 19, 2014-ish. December, yeah, that was November, right? So we're still going down, right? It wasn't a catalyst then, and we crashed on the week of January 12th. You know what's a real catalyst? A real catalyst right here, the Greek bank crisis. That's a catalyst. Now look what happened. Here is this my weekly chart? It is. It looks better on a daily chart, but here is the Greek banking crisis on a weekly chart. We went up big time. From the week that this happened, Bitcoin was $245. 2.5 weeks later, Bitcoin was at 312. Not that big a deal, really nothing special. Ran into its 50-week moving average. Bitcoin went up what, $60 on 250? So it went up what, 22%, 21%? And then look what happened. Boom, we crashed all the way to $180 or 200, below $200 right there. And then we finally went up, right? And that's a real catalyst. The entire country of Greece shut down, for God's sakes, okay? So, yeah, there's nothing like that right now. Absolutely nothing. All we're seeing is, an empty mempool 23 hours of the day, except for some reason at 8:30 in the morning, which I still think is, GBTC stuff. All right, let me see if anyone's, no, I don't have anybody for questions, so it's gonna be a little tricky later. Anyway, where was I? Right, so stop making up like random excuses. Oh, I forgot to charge my computer because we had to switch rooms. By the way, we can get kicked out of this room any moment. We kind of like crashed a WeWork center. And so if someone legitimate actually walks into this conference room, Jimmy and I are gonna have to get kicked out again.
So Tony is putting in his power. Yeah, I will entertain you for the 20 seconds that it takes for him to do that. But yeah, a lot of comments here, Tone.
Are you watching the live chat?
Yeah, a little bit.
Anything interesting?
Well, first of all, there's almost 1,500 people watching.
Excellent.
So that's pretty amazing. A lot of people. Tone didn't steal it. I lent it to him, guys. Okay. All right. A lot of people talking about other coins for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, not many people asking questions actually, which is strange. I mean, like other than silly questions there. So we shall see. Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna comment on something else. Hold on, let me magnify my 18 million tabs and try to remember what I was gonna comment on. Yeah, no, I don't remember anymore. Yeah, I commented on the Sharia law thing. I mean, that's about it. Like, guys, I'm sorry, there's no major news event, right? No, Italian banks didn't shut down. Like, there's nothing here. It's just overzealous shorts, just too many shorts. And now the market is absolutely primed to go lower without those people profiting anymore. This is how markets work. Like, I'm not saying trading is easy, right? Like, it's trading is incredibly difficult. And it's a bit of a lesson, right? Like, if here's a daily chart, like these things are, no, it's not the daily chart, that's the daily chart. Like, if I zoom this out, and let me maximize it again. I don't know why am I like I remember like these crazy times that really screw traders up. Like, when was March? Here it is. I remember this. Who else remembers this? Am I on linear charts? I think I might still be on linear charts and not on log charts. Like, who remembers this godforsaken day? This was the day of the ETF announcement not happening. Now, I warned people to get out here at 1250, 1300, mostly because of this 9. And I told people, do not hold Bitcoin into the ETF announcement because I was given it a 5% probability that Bitcoin was going to be approved for the ETF. And even if it was going to be approved for the ETF, I expected it to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I probably should have taken the same exact approach at the $20,000 top with the CME futures. I might have put a little too much stock in this time indicator because in this case, the 9 came before the event and I was all sell, 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 get out of your longs. But on that case, the 9 was going to come like 3 to 4 days after the CME futures launch. So I was hoping that it would, still go up for another few days. And look, I was wrong on that one, obviously, in hindsight. But look at this day, right? Do you even remember? Did it go up first or down first? I remember it well. Okay, do you remember? And if you don't remember, then you haven't learned from your mistakes if you traded back then, right? Which way did it go? It actually went up first, and then it shut down. It took out the shorts. People realized that the ETF wasn't going to work. Everyone was short by this point, and boom, it took out the short, and then boom, it crashed. And a bunch of people went long, thinking that the market knew best, and when it broke the new all-time high, everyone was buying in that the ETF is going to get approved, and then it wasn't. So I learned, I believe it was Theo Goodman that called this the Darth Maul candle, which is a very fitting name for this candle. But yeah, this is what the market does to you. It finds a way to completely eliminate your position, whether your position was correct or incorrect. All right, let's go back to a normal view. That's pretty much it right now. I don't even look, my current outlook, this is the daily chart. Let me go to current situation. Let me double click on this. Let me do that. And let's go to log scale. Okay. So in log scale, obviously the trend line shifts. And so what am I looking for? Well, I was thinking this candle had a very high probability of closing below the blue line, but the hopium was in the air. So what's our bullish outlook here? My bullish outlook is for at most 4 more days of upside. We're going to run into the 50-day moving average. It will most likely get rejected by the 50-day moving average, and down we go. Can it go higher? Can it go into this moving average on the log scale, which is only here on a linear scale? We'll see, right? You have this giant resistance cluster. It is a little spread out. And the fact that it's spread out makes it actually harder because it has to get through them one at a time. So we'll see what happens there. There was potential. This big move could have scared the shit out of the shorts. Maybe a bunch of people started buying again, but they're going to get hurt because I just don't see. I'm not going to be fully bullish. Get Bitcoin above this, above this 200-day moving average. I'm expecting it to flatten out soon. Get Bitcoin above 9,500, and we can start talking about bullish, significant bullish outlooks. All right. Hold on a second, guys. All right, back. So that's about it. I might as well go to Q&A. How many live viewers I have, Jimmy?
Let me see here. You have 1,525.
Excellent. I think this is a perfect time to show my affiliate codes. Hey guys, so if you like my work and you want to support my work and continue getting free work while complaining about getting free work that I do, you should see my Twitter. Everyone is anyway, it's insane. Please check out the affiliates and referral section of my website, and I'll go to your questions right now. TradingView, BitMax, the companies that I don't believe are scams, and I tried to get you as many discount codes as I could. Here's the 50% off from Torguard, 10% off on a buy the dip shirt. TradingView, sorry, no discount there. I'm trying to get them to do a discount, but if you're gonna sign up for TradingView, it doesn't cost you anything extra. And BitMax, you get a 10% off on your commissions. Added a new one yesterday. If you or your friends need to learn the basics of Bitcoin, or how to create a cold wallet, what's a hot wallet, how to make Bitcoin transactions. I mean, we're talking like the Bitcoin 101. One of the few people that I trust is Julia Turiansky, and check out her website, Brave the World, and very reasonable price. So go ahead, and if you have friends or family members that need to learn the ropes and the basics, check that out. So I added that one. All right, so go ahead and check these out. All right, Q&A time. Corey, what do you got for me? I guess I'll leave screen share because then I always forget to turn it back off. And if a question is beyond my capability of answering technologically, I have Jimmy Song here, so this is excellent. There he is.
Wait.
You're in a little corner there. We're still on screen share, but Jimmy's looking.
Okay.
All right, let's get to your questions. Could we be on a monthly red 4 since your TD is a bit ahead of the Wall Street TD? I don't know. I haven't looked at the monthly chart in a while, right? Here's the weekly chart. I can flip that to a monthly chart, and we'll see what we look like. No, we're on a monthly red 2, but it didn't really go below the 1 in a significantly noticeable way. So, man, the monthly chart looks ugly. I mean, we haven't had a red 2 on a monthly chart since here, since October of 2014. And that turned out to be a very good trade, by the way. The last time a red 2 went below a red 1, it was a very good trade. That took place at around 365, and it dropped all the way to about 150. So that was like a nice 65-70% drop from that point. So you don't want to see that again, right? Like a 60-70% drop from current point, takes us into that $4,000 range. I still think that the $4,900 area can bounce us, but if it doesn't, you know what I think? I think 1,300. Here we come. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Next question. What if international politics and Dow is the catalyst? I mean, again, you're guessing, right? Like, look, is it possible that some big buyer actually stepped up and bought Bitcoin? Sure. Does this buyer know what they're doing? Maybe. Is this buyer going to reverse the overall trend? No, absolutely not. That's not how trends reverse. It's just not how markets work. So I haven't seen anything, right? Like, look, it was just a short squeeze. It was just like there was nobody left to sell. I mean, for a short period of time. And then someone bought, and then someone got liquidated and had to cover, and someone else got liquidated and had to cover. And here comes the waterfall event in the opposite direction. There was no FOMO here. It doesn't seem like that's what happened. All right, next. What is your take on the Bart Simpson head formation? I don't know what time frame it's on. Guys, you got to put a time frame in. I think I saw that in my Twitter feed here. Like, what's my time frame here? Is this a 1-minute chart? So it's a 1-minute chart from 7,800 up to 8,300 and then back down. This is what I expected for the rest of the day, right? Like, I expected this on a bigger time scale. I'm just not bullish at all. How's the mempool doing, Jimmy? Because I see your computer screen.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I mean, there are people that are overpaying and stuff.
Yeah.
We're going towards like 15 to 30, more so than 0 to
It's
5.
still reasonable.
Yeah, and I think by the weekend it'll clear.
All right, let's see what else we got. Could it be that somebody closed a big short position that triggered a chain reaction that the short squeeze happened? Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, like the kind of stuff that happened today, right? I mean, this happens in the stock market as well. Go back and research May 6th, 2010, known as the fat finger incident, where after a giant investigation, some guy in London was actually accused of crashing the Dow Jones by 1,000 points. It was ridiculous. It was like the biggest witch hunt ever. Nobody caused that. There's no conspiracy here. It's trading. You gotta keep your position size proper so that a trade like this gets you out early enough in the trade and you get to trade again, okay? If this trade ruins you, take a pretty long break. All right, next. If shorting Bitcoin doesn't bring the price down, which I agree, the person wrote that, how can you then say people will stop shorting Bitcoin because it's going up and that makes you bearish? No, because here's what makes me bearish, right? When people actually short Bitcoin, they eventually buy back. A lot of bottoms in the stock market are made because there is a decent amount of shorts. And when those shorts start making a profit, they actually help reverse the market. This is how, this is why shorting is a very important feature in liquid and, liquid and proper markets. Because shorts get the profit, shorts will buy back, and they will help reverse the market in a proper way. When you have an event like this, when the market was over short, and I believe that the environment was set up where short was the right play. I still believe that. Like yes, shorts were getting out of hand. We had the highest number of shorts ever, but things can always go higher, right? Like there could have been even more shorts, right? Unless there was no more stock to borrow, right? If there was no more stock left to borrow, you got a problem, right? Shorts are over leveraged. And if there's no stock left to borrow, there's nobody left to short. One guy covers because he's getting bored. He wants to do something else with the money. He's not profiting from a short. One guy says he's out. Another guy says he's out. Boom, here comes the short squeeze. But getting back to your question, now that a lot of the shorts got wrecked, they may not be eager to short this time. And they may not be ready to go long because a lot of shorts that got wrecked are now going to do something stupid and go long, and they're going to get wrecked again. This time around, if the market starts to fall fairly quickly with a tiny number of shorts on the table, then those shorts will not be there to help the market recover by taking profits from the short positions and buying back. And this creates the perfect scenario where the buyers start to sell and there's no bid. Because once it starts going back down, once the price of Bitcoin goes back to that $6,500 area, back to that $6,900 area, let me go back to my daily chart. Once the price of Bitcoin gets back to the vicinity of where it took off to the upside on the short squeeze, and now we have a record low number of shorts versus a record high number of shorts, you got the opposite situation where there's no short stepping up to the plate taking profits. As we go lower, nobody wants to buy Bitcoin. No one is stepping up with the bid. People want to sell Bitcoin, whether they have to or they want to. And you got a big problem on your hands because this is how the flash crash of 2006, the flash crash of 2008, the flash crash of 2010 actually happens, right? Like there's just no bid. People are scared to buy and nobody knows where the bottom is. So markets aren't perfect, but you want to be a decent number of shorts that can profit from those shorts to help you stabilize the market after a drop. Think about all that. Might have to replay this part of the video a few times. All right, next. Tone, after the 100% bull trap, we had a 60% drop, 45% drop, 19% jump, and then a 40% crash. I guess, I'm not going to fact check your numbers. We are doing the exact same thing right now from 11,000. Could you use the price range tool and look? I guess, let me see. My chart's gonna get cluttered, right? Not exactly sure what you mean. I'm gonna have to skip this question. It seems a little too complicated, but I mean, it seems like you know what you're doing because you got the numbers right. Just do it, tweet out the chart, tag me. I'll take a look at your chart. I mean, it seems like you know what you're doing. All right, next. Tone, now the 1300 scenario is out. No, 1300 scenario is not out. 4900 scenario is a more realistic bottom. They're both realistic bottoms. Anywhere is a realistic bottom. I don't understand how everyone thinks that. I mean, come on, guys, look at the weekly chart. What has today changed in this chart? What? Yes, we just picked up another dollar. Like, what has changed in this weekly chart? We are barely above the 50-week moving average. Yes, it's still trending up. Yes, it's still holding up the price. What do you think is the most likely thing to happen if we reach this weekly downward trend line, sitting at 8,600 bucks? Okay, what do you think is the most likely outcome? The most likely outcome is for the price to get squeezed between the 50-week moving average and this trend line. Which way is it going to break out after it gets squeezed? Well, back in 2014, it broke out to the upside with a vengeance. And then look what happened over the next 12 months. It went significantly lower. It lost another like 60, 70% of its value. Like, I don't understand why people all of a sudden think that Bitcoin is going to 100,000 because of one day, which clearly didn't have a fundamental or a technical catalyst. It was just trading. It was just over leveraged positions. Too much to one side. I mean, I'm not actively trading, so I had no reason to look at those numbers before this. I mean, if you're actively trading, you may want to keep an eye on this next time, right? Especially if you're trading on Bitfinex. I mean, like from a longer term perspective, nothing is changing. At $1,300 number staying where it is, again, just like there's no change here. Let's see how the week closes. I mean, the day is almost over. Let's see how the week closes. All right, next question. Apparently, rumor has it that the OTC trades for Bitcoin are very active. Do you have any knowledge of that? How do OTC trades affect the price versus exchanges? They don't. OTC trades do not affect the price. That's why they're OTC trades. Remember, for every buyer, there has to be a seller, right? If one guy wants to buy 100,000 Bitcoin and another guy wants to sell 100,000 Bitcoin, it does not affect the price because they do it off exchange. And now a holder has changed, right? If this holder is more confident in Bitcoin than the prior holder, this is great for the price. If the new holder is, someone that's schizophrenic and 3 days from now is going to decide that he made a mistake, that could be catastrophic for the price because he may not want to go OTC to sell it because it may be hard to sell 100,000 Bitcoin. He may do something stupid like sell it on the market. Was this a malicious attempt to take out the longs? Sorry, was this a malicious attempt to take out the shorts? I don't think so. Do I know for sure? Of course not. All right, let's move on. In this bear market, how should I hedge my Bitcoin investment? Well, it's up to you, right? I mean, you can try to buy some put options, but they're going to be expensive, obviously. You could hedge it by taking on short positions that are non-leveraged, right? You can you can sell the futures, right? You can sell Bitcoin at a future date. You can sell the futures, but if you do it on BitMax, you'll just earn more Bitcoin that could potentially go down in price. You can sell some of your Bitcoin position and buy back later. It depends on how you bought your Bitcoin. If you bought your Bitcoin for cash, that could be very, very difficult. You have to buy a cash Seller, you have to find the cash buyer, and then you have to find the cash seller then after. So I mean, you can't hedge into altcoins. That's dumb. I mean, again, Bitcoin is an uncorrelated asset. If it was easy to hedge, everybody would be doing it. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard, guys. So what I would do if this was a stock, right? And if I wanted to hedge, what I would do is I would use an option strategy called a collar. Now, you can't really do this because there's really no options in Bitcoin unless you're using Ledger X, which means you have to be a high net worth individual worth millions of dollars. But you can do something called a collar. So what a collar is you buy puts. Let's say Bitcoin was at $7,000, right? And you're afraid it may go below $6,000. So you would buy the $6,000 strike put. And to pay for that put, you would sell the $8,000 call, right? So you're basically collaring your trade $1,000 up or down. No matter what happens, the maximum you can lose is 1,000, the maximum you can gain is 1,000. As it gets closer to that $8,000 level, you can just move the goalpost and do it again, okay? If you don't want to give up the Bitcoin, or you give up the Bitcoin to the person that you sold the call to, because you're fully hedged. You have the stock to give up to the call buyer from you, and your put at 6,000 protects your downside of Bitcoin going below 6,000. So that's how you can hedge your position with something called a collar, but you need to understand options trading. One day maybe I'll teach options trading one day, right? Oh, we got dinner to go to. I still have like a million questions. Let's see. What do we got, Jake? 5 minutes?
We're supposed to be there by 7, so maybe.
How long's the ride?
15 minutes.
All right, so I got a little time. All right, let's see how many questions I can get through. When a call or a put is exercised, what happens with volume? If whoever buying to execute for flipping, not holding, so those shares are bought, then sold, is the volume additive or canceled? That's a good question. To be honest, I never thought about it. Like, I've held every kind of options. Options have been assigned to me. Stock has been assigned to me when I was, let's say, holding call options on something that were in the money. Stock has been assigned to me. I've had stock taken away from me because I had, again, sold call options that became in the money. Same thing with puts. And I honestly never really thought about it or looked into it. So you may want to Google that. I honestly don't know. I don't know if you are, I believe like you're the possession of, well, probably your options, your stock goes to the other individual. But if he's on a different exchange or broker, I think ownership just transfers. Again, because these things are not on a blockchain, it doesn't really matter. I believe that it does affect volume, but it happens at a very specific price. So it doesn't really, it affects volume, but it doesn't affect the price of the stock. So basically, my best thinking right now on this question is that when options get exercised, it does raise the volume, but it doesn't affect the price because the price has been predetermined. And the stock just gets assigned to a different person. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. A good question, though. If you stump me with a question, especially options related, I'm impressed. I didn't think it was possible to stump me with an options question, but option assignment of the underlying stock, even though it's happened to me many times, I never really thought about the volume implications. Next. What's the support and resistance you anticipate in the short term? Well, your definition of short term may be different than my definition of short term. So on a daily chart, we're at resistance because of this new trend line. And if we go higher, then it's the 50-day moving average. So my medium-term resistance is about 86.30, and my support, well, there is no support, 4,900, guys. Because if we get back to the vicinity of 6,500, I'm expecting 4,900. So my support's 49, 75-ish, potentially 47.50 from the Fibonacci line, and my resistance is in current vicinity. Like I didn't think we'd get this high, but hey, you know, markets are not easy to predict. That's why you set proper stop losses, mentally or automated. Next. Tone, you were bearish the entire time it was going up last year. No, that's not true at all. That is complete fabrication. I don't know if I even want to read the rest of the question. I watched, and you always said it's not supposed to be going up. No, that is grossly incorrect. I don't think you watched at all, or if you watched, you clearly weren't listening. You were maybe watching on mute. So that is grossly incorrect. So I was the guy that went up against people like Vinny Lingham, who were scared and bearish in the $1,300 area. And I was the biggest bull and cheerleader. You can go back to my Twitter too. Right here at 760, I called a buy. Right here at 915, I called a buy. I was bullish. I mean, sure, I told people to be careful right here at the top, and I told people to be careful right here at the top, but I was bullish. The moment we broke above 1,300, I was bullish. I was bullish all the way. I did warn people. I mean, I called the $3,000 top perfectly. I called the $5,000 top perfectly. Once we broke above 7,000, so you can't say that I was bearish the whole year. I got nervous in the last month and a half of the year when we started trading above 7,500, because I felt anything above 7,500 was unsustainable, and it was going to go back to at least 7,500 and probably lower. So while I was still bullish and even calling for higher prices than 20K, I was bullish. I also knew that we were going to go back down and hard. And I'm not surprised at all. So it's so whoever says I was bearish at any time last year, other than at very specific points like 3,000, 5,000, 7,500, yeah, I was bearish and I was correct. Once we got back to once we made it to the $8,000 area in November, I was bullish again. I was nervously bullish, but I was bullish. I just knew that this was unsustainable and unreasonable. So that's a very bad question. I have no idea who you've been watching. Maybe you were watching me. Go back and rewatch it. Maybe you'll understand what I meant that whole time. See, your understanding of what I'm saying could be very, very different than what I'm actually saying. So I'm not responsible for your misunderstanding of my statements. Next. So if we push past 8,000 and can't break 9,000, would you short? No, of course not. I wouldn't short Bitcoin. I think that's dumb. And that was proven in the last 24 hours. If you are going to short it, you have to use zero leverage. Like you short it with as little leverage as possible. You don't want to be liquidated on, like, you don't want to get wrecked. You know, your best option is to potentially, you know, sell Bitcoin and buy back. Now, you might be buying back at higher prices if you made a mistake. I'm holding through it, guys. I told you, I'm not selling my Bitcoin, only to pay my bills. And to pay, you know, yeah, pay my bills. All right, next. Tone, can you explain one more time how and who is making profit by liquidating all these shorts? No one is making profit, clearly. No one is, right? Like a lot of money was lost today. Those that were long, I mean, made good money because the price went up, right? Like I am still holding all my Bitcoin. I'm long at zero leverage, right? It's in cold storage. So who profited? I did. Bitcoin price went up. You know, I get to pay back some debts today, tomorrow, at a much cheaper expectation than I thought I was gonna, right? So who made money? Those that were long. Shorts didn't make money. Shorts got killed. Next. Tone, with Zuckerberg getting drilled on the business model from solely ad-based to possibly micropayments for revenue, do you think Lightning, it says lighting, that's funny. I shouldn't make fun of anybody's spelling, guys. That was wrong of me. I'm like the worst speller in history. Do you think Lightning opens up an integration of a wallet to fulfill regulation? No. Bitcoin and Lightning all they will do is they will save Zuckerberg some money, hopefully. But if Facebook is going to store all this Bitcoin and they get hacked, they're going to lose a lot of money, right? So you get the good with the bad. Like Zuckerberg was getting nailed because the Democrats still can't come to the realization that Trump won. And it was just horrible, right? So, and Zuckerberg, as far as I know, is a Democrat. And the Democrats are putting Zuckerberg through the ringer because they can't admit that Trump that Trump won the election against, you know, crazy Hillary. That's all it is. It's theater. It's complete theater. I feel bad for Zuckerberg, actually. Next. Tone, do you play a mean pinball? I used to play pinball. I like foosball. I used to play foosball back at the office. I used to like playing foosball. I used to play it at lunchtime at my financial office. Pinball I haven't played in a long time. I will say that back when, oh God, I'm going to show my age now. My two favorite pinball machines, one was the Street Fighter pinball and the other one was Mars Attacks. So if anyone ever played those two particular pinball games, and I come to your city and you know where one of those games are, I would love to like relive my childhood by playing Mars Attacks pinball, Street Fighter 2 pinball, and if you know where I can get the old school Lethal Enforcers arcade, that's another one. I like those were like my childhood favorite arcades. Next, almost done. Last one, Jimmy. Then we go to dinner.
I'm hungry, man.
Yeah, Jimmy eats a steak. Jesus. What about the average cost of mining Bitcoin if it goes below what people stop mining and eventually collapse Bitcoin? So I'm actually not going to answer the question, and I'm going to say, please watch, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? So at some point this week, Jimmy and I discussed this at length for 30 minutes on one of the Bitcoin morning briefs. So it is a question for Jimmy, but Jimmy answered this question along with myself on a Bitcoin morning brief from 2 or 3 days ago. So please go through my YouTube channel and you will get your answer there. All right, thanks guys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Jimmy, you might tell me how many live viewers hung in there till the end?
Let's see here. Still 1,462.
1,400, thank you guys. It gives me one more chance to show the affiliate codes. And if you like my work and you want to support my work and you would like me to keep bringing you these videos twice a day today, and I'll try to get you some interesting interviews from the conference tomorrow. And then my trading seminar is coming up. So if you are in Austin and you still want to come on Saturday, please check out the trading seminar. But other than that, if you're going to use any of these companies or any of these products, just use my links and it helps me out. And it makes me feel like my life's worth living and continue bringing you the best content I could with the least amount of bias, even though the alt and the shitcoiners will disagree. All right, guys, I'm going to stop screen share. One more chance to say goodbye to me and Jimmy. Nice try. No, you don't get to see my hair today. It's pretty bad. So on this note, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, Corey, for doing the questions. Thank you, Leah, for sticking with us through the morning shows. I will make sure not to give any girls tulips. And I'll see you all. Well, tomorrow morning is going to be a little bit tricky because of the conference that starts unreasonably early. And but we will bring you content tomorrow as well. All right, talk to you all on the next one. Good luck trading. And
this song is sort of done. I need my hand.
bye, guys.